Good morning, I'm Nathan Stanton. I'm your cruise director between now and next May. I'm very thankful for all of you who are here today. This is, on one sense, it's a great experiment, but on the other hand, I think that you are going to benefit greatly from going through this process. The first ever planter incubator. And I've talked to other annual conferences, talked about the processes that they use just in terms of assessment and also development. And so this is kind of a combination of conversations I've had to and fro, and then some of my own background, and just thinking about my own incubator story. In kindergarten, we incubated eggs, so my kindergarten teacher was preparing me for ministry, I guess. Three areas I want you to be mindful of as we start off. Call, competency, and character. And those are kind of the three keystone areas that anybody would talk about in terms of new church development and planter development. The way we are going to be handling that between today all the way to that fuzzy time in May when I keep saying we haven't scheduled yet, but I'm getting it together. I'm a procrastinator. That's something God's working with me on. Your call is your call. We all have a very unique call to ministry, and that is very much something that I want you to continue to own. I think what I want you to be in prayer about and really think about is how that call might be shifting as it pertains to reaching a group of people that you are, for lack of a better word, you have an affinity to, that God is just giving you a desire to reach out to them. And we talk a lot about trying to restore the greater United Methodist Church, but I think one of the things I want to be clear about with this particular effort is that we are talking about reaching a new group of people. I'm not particularly interested in how we can fix, for lack of a better word, the mothership. I think by reaching new people, you are in fact, changing the larger church. And so I want you to be aware of that in your call and where you are right now, and to really be praying about, who's God really putting in front of you, and who are the people that you tend to hang out with, and that one of the probably like Jim Griffith or somebody like that in the new church group, they talk about sometimes we have these grand ideas about the church that we would like to grow. Church of multicultural, contemporary church, and the reality is, you think about it, in my case, I live out in northwest Wichita, and most of my free time is taken up driving kids to events. And my affinity group, the people I'm around with the most, and the people I have relationships outside of the work I do, are other young parents. Their kids whose parents are around. Those are the people I have the best relationships with now outside of my work relationships. That's my affinity. That would be the best opportunity for me probably to evangelize and collect a group of people. And those are the people that are in my life. And so you have to be realistic about who is in our life and who you really are attracted to be around, and who's really attracted to you. So that call piece is important to continue to be in conversation about. So the competency piece, I think we have really a group of people who are planting in the Great Plains, probably who could go up against, not that it's a competition, but just in terms of quality and the kinds of things that we know are happening within our new church congregations, the kind of competencies and the ministry that we are known for in those new churches probably are some of the highest quality in the United Methodist connection. And I'd say that today, specifically with Rob coming up, I've asked Rob to take us through a process and Rob's spiritual gifts. I'll let him tell you a story, talk about his call and Church of Park City. But as you leave today, one of the tools I hope you'll leave with is an understanding and a comfort level with receiving a profession of faith, say at Starbucks. To have that kind of comfort level to do that kind of personal evangelism. Junius Dotson's going to come and he's going to talk about networking. What does it mean to network in a community? We know a church, you want to have different kinds of relationships. And not all those relationships are necessarily going to mean you're going to have more church membership, but what does it mean to network and have that kind of influence and relationships with people who are mover and shakers in the community? And so I want you to be thinking about where are the places that you need to be having conversations when you go back to your church context? Who are the leaders in your community? And where are the conversations that you might want to have just as part of your work as a leader and as a gatherer of people back in your home context? Deborah McKnight is going to Skype in from Lincoln this afternoon. She's the pastor at Urban Abbey. And she's going to share a unique way that they are partnering to raise money for nonprofits as a way of networking in their community and being known and a form of evangelism as well. And so that competency piece you're going to receive today from very, very quality individuals. And then the character piece. You got your call, you've got competency, and then the character. The way we're going to work on character is that part of my work as somebody who is going to be assessing along with the bishop and the cabinet and assessing for new plants is, to be quite honest, fruitfulness over a longer period of time. Just thinking about how can you handle ministry day in and day out, month in and month out, year in and year out, in quite frankly something that's a little bit more high stressful. And so the way we'll do that is weekly emails from me. After this particular retreat, you'll have 4 questions just to say yes or no. And if you want to have a little bit more input, you're going to have the question, did you share your faith this week? Yes or no. Did you receive a profession of faith this week? Yes or no. Have you had a conversation with a community leader this week to network? Yes or no. Have you spent time with God this week? Yes or no. It's a way of tracking yourself, of thinking, how am I continuing to work on these competencies? These are things, and by no means these are not everything that goes into a church plant, but this is where we are in this incubator in this time.
When the music fades, all is stripped away, and I simply long just to bring something that's a word that will bless your heart. So I'll bring you more than a song, for the song in itself is not what you have required. You search much deeper within, through the way things are here. You're looking into my heart. I'm coming back to the heart of worship. And it's all about you. It's all about you, Jesus. I'm sorry for the things I've made it. It's all about you. It's all about you, Jesus.
You know, I was in Dallas last week, the beginning of the week, with a jurisdictional mission council. And one of the presenters was talking about and putting up some of the statistics, and you all, because of some of your interest in church planting, know some of these statistics. But as far as our jurisdiction in the life of the United Methodist Church, it was almost like we have something to be proud of, in the sense that we are losing members less quickly than any other jurisdiction out there. We are dying slower than any other jurisdiction out there. But here's the problem. We're still dying. That's not good news. That's not good news. And so I want to lift that up a little bit today. You know, if we're dying, if we're still dying, it seems to me we need to get a life. Anybody ever say that? Get a life?